The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of Houston Texans football on ESPN 97.5. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, the man next to me, the handsome man, Mr. Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. How's it going, OG?
I'm going good, man. Got Thanksgiving out the way. Christmas is coming up.
Yes, sir.
Taking a little bye week with our Houston Texans. Did you watch any football yesterday?
You know what I did, and this is where once again I gotta commend NFL Red Zone is just so amazing. And I introduced my dad to it yesterday, and he was like, "I've never seen this much football before." And no, it's not a plug, but that's just goes to show how much a great product NFL Red Zone is. I wanted Miami to lose. As you know, I want my boy Mike McDaniels calling plays.
Of course.
Fortunately, he's winning games. We're going to see him this Sunday at home. I cannot wait for that. But
yeah, they hung like 32. They hung up 32, didn't they? 32, 34 points, something like that.
They went overtime.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of checked out scores. I took the week off, too. I took a bye week with the Texans, man. I needed to rest my body and my mind and my soul. I did see that the Jaguars beat the Titans. That's embarrassing.
It was the Super Bowl for Tennessee, beating us. And
that's true. That's true.
In Jacksonville, you're like, why did you win that game? And now, I think they were, before entering yesterday, they were in sole possession of the number 1 pick. Now they dropped all the way to number 5. So it just goes to show you how just winning one meaningless game can affect your draft stock. But we are back from the bye week, Nick. Houston Texans at home this Sunday against Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniels. Their opportunity to show out of the bye week a potentially new Houston Texans, man. But first, this is our 24th episode. Happy Kobe episode to you, Nick. And shout out to ESPN 97.5 allowing us to come on here and, just ramble about our favorite football team.
Yeah,
Got
baby.
a question for you, Nick, man.
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling 24 episodes in?
I'm feeling really good, man. First of all, it's an honor to do this. This part's fun. Even win or lose, man. Like, we get to sit here and talk about it, and we get to engage with other Houston Texans fans, and they get to tell us their feelings. Sometimes they agree with us. A lot of times they don't. Sometimes, they'll take sides in this whole Twin Toros battle sometimes, and I know you've got a pretty strong following. And for me, it's just fun to have the conversations. I don't mind being wrong. I've been wrong about a few things this season. If you told me at the beginning of this season, 18 weeks in, they were going to be 8-5, my best case scenario was guessing that they would be 12-5 this season. So they would have to, go undefeated and win out on the way out the door. I don't think that's going to happen. My worst case scenario for them was that they would win 10 games. That's still on the table. I'm hoping maybe it's going to be somewhere in between there, man. But 24 episodes of Twin Toros, man, we've gotten really good feedback. I found out that people are listening that I didn't even know were listening.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, they'll just run into me and be like, hey, I've been checking out your show. And, it's people I haven't talked to in years. So it's really cool, man. Like you said, we have to thank ESPN for helping us share this platform, man. And we talked about how you got you made your radio debut last week. So good things are happening for us, man. I'm feeling good. Regardless of what happens in the Texan season.
Feeling real nicey.
Absolutely.
Wanted to ask you about your confidence level heading into the final stretch of this season. What we've been talking about all year is finally here. The Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, all within 10 days of each other. And then, week 18, Tennessee. But what is your confidence level heading into the last 4 games of this season?
That is a really interesting and good question because I'm not exactly sure. I think
Mine's a 6.5, 7.
I'm still riding the groove, the train.
I like that.
My prediction, I don't want to say prediction, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of ourselves. I expect them to go 2-2. Which 2 wins, which 2 losses, I'm not going to guess. I'm expecting them to split it, though. I think, and the reason I say that is because I said at the beginning of the season, best case scenario, they were going to be a 12-5 team and a Super Bowl contender. Worst case scenario, they were going to be what they have been, a good regular season team and a bad division that wins you one playoff game and then more than likely loses on the road. Right now, that's what this team feels like to me, that they're still that. So that's my prediction. Right. That's my prediction. That's not what I hope for, but that's right now what I feel like is probably going to happen. I'll tell you that I simulated the end of the season on Madden, and the Texans finished the season 9-8. They beat Miami and then lost 3 games straight. Hopefully, that would be awful. But like we said, if they win 2 playoff games, even in that scenario, then who cares, right? So I just hope they're playing their best football coming out of the bye. The question is all the hype around this Azeez Al-Shaair suspension, is it going to affect them in a positive or a negative way? That's yet to be seen.
And that's a valid question, as we get into our next topic is this villain role going to work for the Houston Texans? To me, I think it will. I think that whenever they return to practice, and we've heard some news today about people returning back, one of them being left guard Kenyon Green. I thought his season was done. No. And then Christian Harris County, potentially returning sooner rather than later. But, dude, I think it's very interesting because we've talked about the city of Houston being used to the villain role. You brought up Dylan Brooks. Good game last night. Rockets beating the Clippers without James Harden. We talked about the Astros cheating scandal. We're going to be hated forever. So the villain role is nothing new for this team. I think it could benefit the Houston Texans because of who's is not running the show, but who's the captain of the offense. And to me, that's Joe Mixon. Because Joe Mixon, a day after Azeez posted that, or I believe 2 days after, had his own Joker tweet, a gif of, the Joker holding his head like this, and in the background was a ha, 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 right? Saying, kind of buying into that notion of us being the villains. And with Joe Mixon, his word carries a lot of weight in the locker room. There's a reason why he's a captain. His energy is contagious, not only on the sideline, but off. This is your captain embracing the villain role, man. And what we've been saying this whole year, the offense needs to wake up. Can this potentially be the spark that gets the offense going in the second half?
I'll tell you what, Ruben. I agree with you that the villain role is not new for the city of Houston, but you have to admit, for the Houston Texans, it is kind of new, man, because we've always, as long as the Texans have been around, they've had good guys, right? J.J. Watt, Andre Johnson. They've never, what's the closest thing we've had to a bad boy? Maybe Arian Foster?
Andre when he beat up Cortland, but he was
but that was outside of character, right? Like, usually the Houston Texans are viewed as the good guys.
Brian Cushing rips off his helmet, head.
Okay, yeah, there's one. I don't know if he was considered a bad guy, though. I think this is
first opportunity.
Yeah, I think this is the first chance that, like, and here's the thing, Texans fans, when we had a bunch of good guys and we were just, winning regular season games and not having success in the playoffs, we're like, hey, let's get some guys. I remember there was an opportunity there for them to get Pac-Man Jones, and they turned it down, and everybody was mad. Like, why won't you get Pac-Man? And it was because of his off-the-field stuff, but you couldn't deny what he does on the field. So I'm not saying any of these guys are bad guys off the field or anything like that, but this is a new look for the Texans to come in and say, all right, like Azeez said, you want us to be the villain? All right, we'll be the villain. Here's the thing. This can go good or it can go really bad. It'll be a positive thing if it causes them to come out with a chip on their shoulder, to be focused, to play disciplined and tough football. Then I say, yes, it's a good thing. If they come out and they start playing reckless and they overdo it and, start getting more stupid penalties, and if they let the outside noise affect what's happening on the field, then it's not going to be a good thing. I think DeMeco Ryans is the right coach to keep them focused. But I am a little bit, like, all the tweets and stuff, y'all can miss me with all that, man. Show me on the field. I'm not down with, putting that battle out in social media, especially for Aziz. Like, Aziz, I understand where you're coming from, but bro, you're not going to be on the field for 3 weeks. So if I was Nick Caserio and I was D'Amico Ryans, I'd say, hey man, turn your phone off for 3 weeks. We got to focus on winning some football games. And then when you come back and you can back up the talk on the field, then it's all good. But right now, if you're not on the field, I need you to close your mouth. And that's just kind of how I feel about it.
And I think, because he put that right, you saw the statement from NFL VP John Runyon. We saw a lot of, attacks on his, character, which is why not only did he come out with that tweet, we saw our general manager, Nick Caserio, go up in front of the media and say, the narrative painted around Aziz's character is quite bullshit. So Aziz not bought in, but is embracing the role. He has his GM behind him. You brought up the stupid penalties, and that's more on the defensive side. I think that the defense will play with a fire, but still will not be out there headhunting, right? Not be out there trying to, really truly be the villain of the NFL.
Yeah, that's that's what I'm saying. That would be silly, and that's the reason I would ask Aziz, like, if to just like Aziz, you said what you needed to say, you got it off your chest. So did the GM, so did the coach. Now it's time to turn the page, because if the Texans don't already have a target on their back, look, man, you don't want to go to war with the Shield, because the Shield is going to win every time. I don't care how righteous you think you are. I agree that his suspension was too much, but I also think, two things can be true at the same time, right? You made an illegal hit, whether, you didn't intentionally mean to hurt someone, but it was an illegal hit. You appealed your suspension. It didn't work out in your favor. Use that to motivate you. But at the same time, man, like, I'm just going to need you to go away for 3 weeks, man. Don't go to war with the Shield, because you will put your teammates in a bad position. Don't go to war with the Shield, man. Just keep your head down and work, because there's a target on their back. And if they keep talking, it's going to get even bigger.
Yeah. And I don't think since, those comments, since his tweets, we've seen anything from Aziz Al-Shaair.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Of course, with this 3-game suspension, he's not allowed to be in the building. No one's allowed to talk to him. So I'm pretty sure week 18 against Tennessee, the conversations come right back up. But
you think they really do that? I'm just curious. You think they really do that in suspensions where you're like, you're not supposed to talk to people?
I mean, maybe the players still talk to each other, but as far as and plus, I don't know how they track that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is the NFL really checking your DMs or what?
I mean, maybe there's always a snitch inside every single, team, right? The NFL places just one guy in all 32 franchises. I don't care what the hell goes on. You work for me, not that team.
But I've just always wondered that, because, you remember there's been head coaches that have been suspended and supposedly they're not in the building for however many weeks or whatever. And I'm like, come on, bro. You think they're really doing that? I don't know.
I just think it's more of a mentality thing. And I think it's much more needed for the offensive side, which is why I like that Joe Mixon was the one that not only, commented on his post, but also, did his own little, Joker, moment. Because if this offense wakes up, man, we've said this the entire year. We know the defense at any given moment can have big plays, whether they get to the quarterback or someone in their secondary is going to intercept the ball.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the offense, can you wake up in the second half, and that's all you need to do, because you're the fourth scoring offense in the first half and dead last in quarters 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So if you do wake up in the second half, and it is because of this villain Joker mentality, we're going to look back on this and say, hey, man, this was chess, not checkers. This is where the mental part of football came into play.
Yeah, for sure. Because I believe on the field, they can beat anybody on any given Sunday because of the things they do well, and I just, I was kind of using this bye week to kind of review the season, if you will. And we focused a lot on the things that have gone wrong this season, but there's a lot of things that have gone right. I mean, Kamari Lassiter, a lot of us were worried, how is a rookie starting corner going to fare in the NFL? Well, he's done really, really well. He's proven that he's at least a starting caliber cornerback as a rookie. The defensive line has been, to me, probably the best position on the team. I mean, you go all the way from Will Anderson Jr. to Tim Settle Jr. they've been balling out, and it's been with suspensions, with injuries. So there's been a lot of things that have gone well for this team, and that's probably, you don't want them to not focus on the things that haven't gone right, because obviously you want them to be fixing it. But don't lose sight of the things you are doing well, and don't try to do something, don't try to go outside of yourself to the point where you stop doing those things. So
Absolutely.
I think the offense, they know what their problems are. I think they have a week to hopefully refresh their minds, refresh their bodies, and then get back to work, man. And I hope that this Aziz thing does motivate them, because sometimes football is about attitude, right? Sometimes that offensive line, it's not about scheme. It's just about the will to beat another man. And maybe this is just a little bit of an edge that they need to start cracking some heads and winning that line of scrimmage. Because in the games where the Texans have won the line of scrimmage, they win. We saw it against Jacksonville. When they win the line of scrimmage, they win the football game. And that sounds like cliche, but it's just straight up facts, man. And that's where my eyes are going to be, at least when they come back against the Dolphins. I'm going to be looking straight at that offensive line and saying, okay, make some blocks so that, listen, Joe Mixon is the veteran leader of this team that I did not expect. I'm just going to be honest with you, man. I expected Azeez Al-Shaair to be a leader. I expected even, Nico Collins, he's a 4-year vet now going into his 5th year. But I don't know why I didn't think about Joe Mixon, but he's been, to me, the captain of the entire team and the MVP of the entire team. Everything he's done on and off the field, to me, what a pickup, man. 7th round pick. Anybody who says that they wouldn't take that for a 7th round pick is crazy.
No, absolutely. And, I did my own video on Joe Mixon. He's just such an important part of this Houston Texans team, and then I put the tweet out, a couple of days ago. If it all works out, one day we're going to talk about Joe Mixon being a huge part of this Houston Texan organization. But as we move on to our next topic, Nick, right now, the Houston Texans are being viewed as pretenders. DeMeco Ryans has gotten some criticism. CJ Stroud has gotten some criticism. Bobby Slowick's been getting the criticism all year.
All season. He's been getting that smoke. Yeah.
No one takes this Houston Texans team serious. And in front of them, they have an opportunity to change the narrative about themselves. If they win 2 out of 3. Now, to me, I think Miami, you got to win this one, right? You said 2-2 is, is what you could potentially be seeing. In this 3-game stretch, I need to go 2-3. I need one of those wins to be either Kansas City, who continue to do black magic every single week, or the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, who's playing like an MVP quarterback again, and Derrick Henry back there running the rock.
Yeah.
You win 2 of those 3 games, dude. Everyone is talking about this Houston Texans team surprising someone in the postseason. We would be here saying, where have we seen this all year? Hey, better late than never. Nick, your thoughts on the Texans kind of potentially having, their destiny in front of them, their image in front of them. They could make a lot of people talk, dude, if they go 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I think this first game, he hit the nail on the head. That's the most important one. I hope they're not overlooking the Dolphins, looking at that Kansas City-Baltimore matchup. Like, take care of the Dolphins first. The Dolphins, you can take care of them. And dude, you still got Tyreek Hill. Like, you got ballers on that side of on that team. So, Tua Tagovailoa, he can still play. I know he's been smacked in the head 500 times, but he can still play. So don't overlook them. But I think just setting the tone with that first win is the most important. If you lose that, I think it's going to be tough to salvage, the next 3 games, man. You're not going to go into playing Kansas City with any kind of confidence, unfortunately. If you beat the Dolphins, at least you're going into Kansas City with some confidence. Like, hey, we figured some things out, and we're going to give you our best shot. And then how I feel about the Ravens. They are gettable. Yeah, if the Texans win 2 of the next 3, I would say it almost doesn't matter what they do against the Titans. You don't want to lose to the Titans again. But, you might be able to chalk it up to, hey, they just came through the murderer's row part of their schedule. As long as that game is not important as far as seeding or winning your division goes, if they lost that game, then we probably wouldn't be all that upset if you get 2 out of the next 3. Of course, if they need to win that game, then it's going to be a completely different scenario. But yeah, I hope they go 3-1. I think they're going to go 2-2, unfortunately.
And they'll get some rest before that Week 18 matchup against Tennessee.
Mhm.
I just look at it and say those 10 days can really change the course of this team.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can go from someone who, like we said, same old Houston Texans, you get a home playoff match and you get bounced at the divisional round. You find some success this last month of the season.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I can't even think about the amount of videos that I'm going to be talking about, but the opportunity is right there in front of them, Nick. And I think they have the guys there, CJ, D'Amico, Nick. Go ahead. Who could just write the shit, man.
No, I was going to say, I agree with you 100%. And I know outwardly this team projects confidence, at least in the media.
Mm-hmm.
But look at their body language on the field, man. More than they need to prove it to us that they can do it, because, forget us. We're just talking heads.
Mm-hmm.
They need to prove to themselves that they're not pretenders. And I know, like I said, on the outside, they're saying all the right things and, oh, we're confident. We know what we can do. But yeah, we see your body language on the field. We see how defensive you get in the media when they ask you questions that the media should be asking you. So really, more than anything, man, they need this stretch to prove to themselves going into the playoffs, hey, we're no joke. And I think if they do it, then and they go into the playoffs with confidence, anything's on the table at that point.
And that's my main point, man. It's crazy how long and short the NFL season is. And I feel like we're in year 4, year 5 of D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud. Nah, we're just in year 2. Nick, I want to thank you, man, for this episode, our 24th, our Kobe. I had a great one. Of course, it was the bye week, so not a lot of things we could talk about, just the potentialness of this Houston Texans team in the final month of the season.
And to tell the city of Houston, y'all don't give up on this team yet, man. We still got some fight in us.
And that's my thing. It's not over. I'm not hearing no fat lady singing. I'm not seeing no Lombardi trophy given out this week or next week or in the next month.
Nope.
The Houston Texans, man, they've seen the criticism. I don't like being called a pretender, and I'm just a fan.
Right.
But I see the comments. I see everyone talking on social media about my team, and at some point, I have to feel disrespect.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying, if you want me to be the villain, if you really do want that, I got no problem being that. I will be the villain all the way until the big game in New Orleans if I have to. And I think at the last 4 games of the season, man, what do you have to lose? You are already going to get into the postseason by the way your division is. Mm-hmm. Why not make some noise? Why not shake some things up? You are already going to be in headlines because of Azeez Al-Shaair the rest of the way going through. What's more?
Yeah. I feel you, man. Hey, what you going to do if Bobby Slowick takes his hat off and he's got a lightning bolt shaved in the side of his head?
Bobby Slowick takes his hat off. I see a little design there. Hey, I'm feeling real different. But hey, listen, you look good. You play good.
Amen.
You coach good. Hey, man, this dude got a fade and put up 16 points in the second half. We hadn't seen that all year.
Yeah, for sure.
All year, Nick. And that was with Jacksonville trying to come back. And you know what happened? The offense won you the game on the 3rd and 4th to Joe Mixon. Baby steps, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, for sure.
It's what we're talking about here. However, this was a fire episode. That is Nick Stevenson. You could find them on every platform, dropping great Houston team content, because he does Astros, he does Rockets, he does Texans, he even throw in some Dynamo in there. You can find me on YouTube. Just type in 713 Houston Sportcast. I drop daily Houston Texans content. I'm getting more familiar with the other 3. But once again, shout out to ESPN 97.5 for having us on here. Great episode. You guys have a blessed one.